Welcome back, everybody. Check this out. So we're gonna use ChatGPT to build this game. Let's see it again. So this is built in Pygame using Python, and the white dot is us. We can move it using the arrow keys, and then the red enemy is trying to move away, and if we touch it, catch it, then it disappears. So it wrote all this was written entirely with ChatGPT, trying just in the first time try. It's kind of mind-blowing. I mean, I didn't have to keep asking it. It wrote all of it in about 100 lines of code, and I actually here is my chat, my conversation with ChatGPT. So I thought I'll save you guys some time, and instead of waiting for this stuff to be typed out by ChatGPT, we'll just review the process. So essentially, what I did was this is where I started. I said, let's imagine a Pygame together. I am thinking it will have fluid motions with round objects and won't have a grid. Just wanted to have like some kind of moving object situation with round objects. And then it says, sure, let's start. So it pretty much explained how you have to set up display.set caption and set mode, and continue to write this code. So let's, I'm just going to paste this here. So this was the first thing it wrote. If you run it, it just makes a screen. That's great. So then, let me close this. Okay, so then, and then it went to say, now that we have a basic Pygame window set up, so it actually set up a basic Pygame window. Let's add some round objects to the game, it said. We can do this by creating a class for the objects. So it wants to create a class. That's wonderful. That's object-oriented programming, right? With attributes for their positions, velocity, radius. Then we can use the Pygame to draw that circle function to draw the objects on the screen. And it wrote this code. Let me actually zoom in here. Quite good. And then it went on to actually give a little bit of a summary as well, saying that this code creates a single round object, moves it. Anyway, we won't get bogged down by that. Let's just now copy and paste this. And now if you run it, it makes an object, but then the object just moves off the screen, leaves a trail, that's it. So then I came back and I said, define a move method within round object class, which makes the object, I'm reading this. Define a move method within round object class, which makes the object move according to the user input from arrow keys, and change the rest of the code within the while loop so that this is implemented, because here all of this is implemented here in the while loop. So then it said, okay, to find a move, so it pretty much said we need pygame.key.getPressed, and then it went on to actually write the code for us, including modifying the for loop. Now if you paste this in, we actually get this with, if you see I'm pressing the keys, it just moves off the screen. It moves a lot and leaves a trail still. So then I went back and I said, objects should not move beyond the game window and should only move incrementally with each key press or while the key is held down. Please modify the move method and the rest of the code to reflect this. So it said that it's going to need to incrementally key. It said it needs pygame.time.clock to limit the frame rate of the game loop, and then pygame.key.getPressed. So it went ahead and wrote all of it. I will actually slowly scroll if you want to pause the video and take a look, and it always gives a summary in the end too, which is great if you want to learn about what each one of these do. So let's paste this in and run it. Now it's moving slowly. That's nice. It's not moving off the screen. We can move it gradually, or just hold the key down, and it won't move beyond the screen. That's good, right? But it still leaves a trail. So then Where was okay? So then let's come down, and I said the round object shouldn't leave a trail, and its radius is 5. Because if you look here, it gave it a radius of 50, and I kind of tested it here in the Visual Studio Code, and I thought 5 is about right, but I wanted to see if ChatGPT can actually handle this. So it actually explained what it needs to do. You can read it right here. And then gave us this code. I'm just going to copy it and paste it here. Run it. As you see, now we have a small little round object that we can move. It's fantastic. Pretty cool. After this, I said, so we want an enemy to chase, right? Or something like that. So I said create an enemy class which is similar to the round object. But the enemy round object will determine the distance from the round object and will move autonomously to try and stay away. So it's actually said to similar, it actually is the new class, it was pretty clever. You can define a new class called enemy that inherits from the round object class and adds a method for moving towards or away from the player. It was very clever, actually. See, it's an enemy object. And where was it? Okay. So as it was writing this code, I just want to mention. So here, I believe I kind of made a mistake. It ran out of maybe tokens, and it stopped right here when it said create a player object and an enemy object. So I was thinking, well, how can I make it continue from this code? I just copied this comment here, right? And then I just pasted it by saying, please continue from, and then I pasted it here. But it misunderstood me, and it actually wrote the code from the beginning. So then I was going to write something else. I copied this whole code, right? And I was going to paste it here, but accidentally I clicked enter because I was going to say, please continue the rest of this code, and I was going to paste the code as an example. But I accidentally just clicked here, and funny enough, it just continued where it left off. It's incredible. The only thing is, I believe it forgot to put a closing bracket here. That's fine. It continued, so then I looked, and it looked fine. So then what I did was I copied the first part, right? Let's paste this in. As you see, it's going to give us an error here, so let's close that parentheses. And then after that, I copied the second part and just paste it down there. It's just that the indentation is wrong, so once we fix that, that's it. And if we run it, look at this. So this object is running away from our object. This is crazy cool. Nothing happens if you reach to it, and also it's the same color. So after this, I said, make the enemy object red, and if the round object catches the enemy, then the enemy disappears. So it just went ahead and wrote some code, and it stopped again. And then I said, please continue to finish this code. And it actually continued right from where it left off. And let's copy this, just like we've been doing. Let's paste it and copy the rest of the code. As you see, the rest of the code is here. Right from here, I believe we're going to have an indentation error. Let's fix it real quick. And if we run it now, here we are. That's it. It literally took like 10 minutes. Yep, and if we catch it, it disappears. Also, I thought, well, where is the window being drawn here? The Pygame display set mode, and I wanted to make it say 800, double the size, so the enemy have more space to run, so it becomes more difficult. and then when you catch it, it disappears. I believe this was the end of it. Yeah, I mean, I was pretty surprised, and look, this is very cool. I hope you enjoyed it too. Please leave some comments of whatever you like to see in the future. I hope you enjoy this, and see you in the next video. Take care.